Rizzy, Rizmas. Merry Rizmas, folks. Just like the Rizzler himself, I'm living off straight vibes today. This is That Saints Pod. I am the Patty V. We've got my man Jacob over here of Big Easy Nation, and obviously we've got Mr. Dave Rainey running the show. Thanks for joining us again. I think we missed last week. Dave and I had a little getaway. Jacob was a little under the weather, but we're back and we're ready to talk all things Saints. It's been an exciting 2 weeks. Oh my goodness. I'm going to shut up though. I'll let Dave run the show. We'll just go.
I don't know why you're letting me run the show. I'm also going on vibes. And speaking of vibes, where are we at with the vibes right now?
I feel like the vibes are high. You tell me.
So where are y'all feeling about like tanking? Because there's a lot of talk. People like, oh, I want to tank, but like we're kind of playing like we could possibly make a run. I mean, the schedule's kind of favorable for that.
Here's the thing. There's so many bad teams this year that even at 4 wins, I think you're in like the teens. So it almost feels like tanking is out the window.
Yeah.
I think you missed your opportunity to tank.
Right.
No, definitely.
You won 2 back-to-back. Now you're riding high. You might as well just ride the vibes. See what happens.
Yep.
See what shakes.
You're only like 1 out of the division.
Yeah.
Now
2 games out. Yeah.
Like and Tampa's hurt.
Yeah.
Atlanta's looking a little rough.
They're limping a little. Yeah.
Nobody wants to win the division again. So
the Panthers still suck, but it is what it is.
They don't have the first overall pick though.
Yeah.
There's that.
Yeah. I'm surprised they even own their own draft pick, to be honest with you.
NFC South football, baby.
Yeah. No, I'm with Patty. I think you missed your opportunity to tank.
Yeah.
So now it's just kind of like, hey, if Rizzi can rattle off 6 in a row or something, it's like now you're just kind of hoping you have maybe your like future head coach, I guess. Like what's it gonna take? That's the conversation, right? What's it gonna take for you to be like, I'm all in on Rizzi?
Probably making the playoffs is like kind of like a far stretch.
I think if you make the playoffs, I mean that's
he's definitely got an opportunity getting it there, making it.
Yeah.
So but
I'm stuck. Because like, yes, if he finds a way to get into the playoffs after that start and like where he took over at, it's like you almost have to give him a shot. But also the idea of not opening up the search again. Like I know they did technically, right? The last time, they had Bieniemy and some people come in, but the idea that you have a chance to completely start fresh and like really rebuild a culture and you're not going to open it up completely is kind of upsetting. I mean, I guess they'd have to because like they got to bring in a minority coach and things like that. So they have to interview somebody.
Rooney Rule.
Yeah. Which, could be Aaron Glenn. That's a name that's been floated around. And that's another one that I'm like, I just don't want it to be him because I want all ties of the past to just be cut.
Yeah. We talked about this once before, like, and I mentioned that I did want to move on. I was like, I'm just ready to move on. And now I've watched 2 weeks of Rizzi football, and I don't know if I need to move on. I'll be honest. I am intrigued.
I love the passion he has too.
Yeah,
like on the sidelines.
You said that like you want the culture to change. I think that's one thing that you've kind of seen with him, and I don't know if it's that guys are willing to go to battle for him right now. Right, that always happens with an interim coach. Like you rattle off a couple, like you saw with Antonio Pierce last year with the Raiders.
That's what I was gonna say. That's the exact thing I was gonna say.
Yeah, like the team all of a sudden was like playing good football, and now this year they're not. So I think you got to be cognizant of that. I don't know. It's difficult for me. I think if you make the playoffs, like both of you said, like that's got to be a massive sign that he's at least under consideration.
Like to what you said, they got to open up the search and not just like kind of make it just Rizzi. You got to bring in everybody. Yeah,
like so, I know there's people that out there that are like Ben Johnson doesn't want to come here and things like that, which we'll see. But like I think you still have to bring in like him. If he's willing to come in for an interview, you have to do it. And if you think Rizzi's the guy, then so be it. But honestly, I'm more at the point now where like I don't even want like Mickey Loomis making that decision.
Yeah,
I want Gail Benson making that decision. Yeah, I don't want Mickey anywhere.
It doesn't even have to be Gail Benson. Like I just want a new like I don't want to like bash Mickey too much because like it's kind of the Sean Payton thing. Like you are part of the reason we even had any success, right?
Yeah.
Like a major part. But like it just feels like it's time. And I'd love to get a new GM in here. And I know it's always been talked about Kai as the next guy up. But again, I gotta just want a whole new thing. Like, and I don't want Mickey to make that decision, because then I feel like it is gonna be Rizzi just because he's been here. And I don't know. He also feels like he's being kind of spiteful right now, and I don't like that.
I think it's crazy that it took Gail having to like bring all the players, for an interview personally, like one-on-one, for her to make the decision. It wasn't Mickey.
Yeah. I think I said this last time we spoke. I mean, I think that's kind of a sign, right? Like, I think Mickey, I'm not saying he's like, he can't get fired, right? Like, he's in the damn will. Like, he can't go anywhere. But I think that you see a change of the guard in a sense at the end of the season. I don't know if, and maybe Mickey's probably ready to move on too, especially with that move. If he feels undermined, I feel like he's a guy that's got an ego. You mentioned that he's being a little spiteful. I mean,
who is it? James Hurst. He was I think on Fox 8 or WDSU. He was talking about like the locker room was lost with DA after the Falcons game last year.
Yeah.
And why didn't you, let him go then?
Yeah.
Why did it take 8 weeks?
I think he lost
7 straight.
It's interesting you said. I remember him saying that, and I remember last year at the time when that happened, DA had kind of won back a bit of the fan base going into that game, and then it was like after that game, a lot of guys were like, "You just apologized to our rivals for scoring a touchdown late in the game?
Yeah,
why?" Like a lot of people at that moment were just like, "I don't know who the hell this guy is, but I don't like it."
And you see in that video, Rizzi running up to Arthur Smith, like cursing him out almost, or
yeah. He definitely fits the vibe of a head coach, a culture builder. Like, he doesn't just feel like another coordinator or anything like that. He fits the vibe. If you're going on vibe, we're talking about vibes this episode.
It's all vibes.
If you're going on vibes alone, it's there. Now we'll see if it's still there 6 weeks from now.
Yeah.
Right. But I don't know. I mean, there's still other things that need to change on this team. You have to get younger. You like, even if they win and get into the playoffs, like, it doesn't necessarily change my outlook on what the team should do.
Yeah.
Like, I would still try to acquire assets. Like, maybe you hold on to a few more guys than you would have in the past. But like, I still think things need to change.
And I really don't think this offseason you really need to get a quarterback right now. You just got to build up your roster, and then
that's the other thing. Now that you've fell out of the top 5, you're gonna miss on the top 2 quarterbacks, and we've talked about it a little bit. Even those 2 don't necessarily feel like slam dunks, right? And then after those 2, it's like, are you willing to take a chance on Quinn Ewers?
For Arch Manning?
Yeah, that's for Arch.
Like, I mean, Derek, we say it all the time. Derek Carr has shown you he can win some football games. Like, now, like, it's almost the same conversation we were having about like Spencer Rattler last year. Like, if you're in the second or third round and for some reason Quinn Ewers falls, you absolutely pull the trigger. And then, like, you do that every year, and you have Derek Carr. Like, I don't know when they can actually get out from Derek Carr.
I think they can get out this year.
Yeah. I'd still run it back with him. Like, I'm not willing. I'd rather just keep running with Derek Carr than take a shot on another random free agent, unless there's a few years ago when like Lamar was a possibility for people to trade for and get, right? Like, unless you're talking like a can't miss home run free agent quarterback, which doesn't happen.
That was a weird situation with Lamar.
Yeah. It's just like unless that can happen, then you just keep rolling with Carr.
You know what's interesting that I just thought of? Like, what happens, like, depending on how the draft shakes out. I don't know where the Cowboys are picking right now, but obviously you have the whole connection.
I think they're right ahead of us at 9.
Well, you have the whole connection of, like, I don't know if it's a joke or what, but you see the reports of like Dion being associated with the Cowboys and obviously wanting to coach his son and all that stuff. So like, if that happens there, then what happens to a guy like Dak? Is that a guy that you want as a replacement to Carr if you can get him? Or, I mean, what other teams are going to be drafting that high? Like, do they have a quarterback that you're looking at? Like,
when it comes to the quarterback, if you're looking at a vet, for me, it's all short term. If you can get Dak for 2 years, and it doesn't, like, I know we talk about the cap situation, but if you can find a way to get that position off the books, like, even if you we all agree that 80 million in it underneath, like below or above the
They
cap,
gotta get
is
back in the clear.
is insane. Whether you believe the cap is a real thing or not,
It is insane.
That number is nuts.
Yeah.
So if you can find a way to at least get more manageable, then you do it. But at the same time, you don't just. I wouldn't.
You can't keep kicking the can down the curb.
Yeah, but when
year in and year out.
When it comes to quarterback specifically, like I don't think I want to roll with Spencer or Hayner next year, unless they completely reset the roster and get younger. Like if you still got all these vets on the team, you get a vet quarterback, and I guess you go for it.
Yeah,
you got to get a guy in the first round. You got to stop trying to find these free agents, hoping you get another Drew Brees. I mean, that was once in a lifetime.
Let's just tank
type of player. Let's
have some fun, and let's do what we should have done a couple years ago, and just hand the ball to Taysom Hill and say, "Listen, buddy, let's go have some fun." That's it. That's all we do. Give it to your best athlete. Yeah. He's going to turn it over 2 or 3 times a game, and he's also going to, rush for 150, throw for 150. It's going to be great.
It's cool, man.
It's going to be great.
How much longer could he do that, realistically?
He's like 37, and how old is that dude?
Yeah, but like he's still like he doesn't look like he's lost a step at all.
It's insane.
I don't know. When it comes to the quarterback specifically, I'd run it back with Carr. If you're asking me if we can get Dak, if you can get him at a reasonable price for 2 years, sure.
He just got a pretty big contract with Dallas too.
Yeah, so that's a.
I'm in a group chat with a bunch of Cowboys fans because of a fantasy league I'm in. They hate Dak.
Well, yeah.
But I watch Dak. I'm like, dude's not that bad. Like, I think he's better than Derek Carr.
Yeah.
Just because of he's got the mobility. Like, I don't think he's that bad. Yeah, I don't. If the Falcons were to move on from Cousins because they had,
I kind of wish we would have waited one more year and gotten Kirk.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to do with the quarterback position. Like, I feel like the guys that become free agents, they're all kind of the same.
Yeah.
Like I don't think there's going to be a difference maker that really pushes you over the edge.
Yeah. And looking at I pulled up the draft order right now. There's a ton of teams ahead of us that definitely need a quarterback. I mean, there's more than 2 that definitely need a quarterback. So even if there's a team that drafts one of these guys, like it's not like there's a quarterback coming off of that team that you're gonna be like, oh, let me go get him.
Now again, I'd still take a shot in the 3rd or 4th round on a guy, just because, especially because they're getting more picks now. Like they got what, 6 picks, I think, in the first 3 or 4 rounds.
Yeah.
I'd take a shot. Why not?
Yeah.
Like if they hit, great. If not, oh well. Like you could have the potential of having 3 quarterbacks in their 20s that all have somewhat upside. Cool. Like I would do it every single year. That's something I would hammer, like I keep hammering on. But I don't know. What
Yuck. Sorry. I was looking up the potential quarterbacks in the first round and things like that. I don't know how old this article is, but the first one, obviously, Shador. The second one on the list is Garrett Nussmeier. And I immediately was like, oh, yeah.
There was one of the ESPN people said like earlier in the year, like week 3, that Nussmeier would find his way into the number 1 overall pick discussion. He's
got the tools as like a pocket passer. Sure. I said it before we hopped on here because obviously the Bryce Underwood news just broke. I don't think he's that bad of a quarterback. I think he's in a terrible situation for his skill set.
Can you still win with just a pocket passer these days?
That's a great question. I don't know.
I mean, they'd have
a dual threat.
They'd have to be like Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning level of like just great. But I don't think it's possible anymore, unless it's one of those guys. So like I think that alone knocks him out of the first round for me.
And the way our offense is set right now with Kubiak, you got to have a mobile quarterback or dual threat.
Like at the very least, you need like
Jake.
You need like Jake Hayner mobility at the very least.
Which, speaking about Kubiak, his play calling was really good against Cleveland.
He had Taysom.
He did have Taysom back the last 2 games, didn't he? Or was it just the last game?
No, he had Taysom the game before, I believe.
He did, yeah.
He did, yeah. And that's funny because I've seen a lot of comments about like, oh, ever since Dennis Allen got fired, like all of a sudden Kubiak's allowed to open up the playbook. I'm like, I think it's because Taysom Hill's back. I don't think.
Well, also like, it can't be overlooked that the team is healthier.
Yeah.
Like literally the week, like Rizzi's first week, they started getting healthy. You got Eric McCoy back, which is huge.
He's hurt again.
Is he? Oh, well.
It's not as serious though.
Yeah,
I saw. So
like
We do get a bye week, which is nice.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So your offensive line being healthy is like the biggest. The receivers are one thing, but if the offensive line is as hurt as it was, like we were just pulling dudes off the street.
Yeah.
And like, hey, you're gonna play today. Like, I don't care how good of a coach Dennis Allen is. There is nothing you can do with that.
Can we talk about how the receivers look respectable somehow? And it's literally dudes that were on practice squads or like on the freaking street.
I'd sign MVS forever.
Like,
What is happening?
And it's not even like the first MVS game was like typical MVS.
Yeah.
Going to catch a few bombs.
Yeah.
This last one, he's catching 10-yard routes and housing them.
Yeah.
Like, I have some respect for that. I haven't seen somebody running. I'm looking at him like he's Brandon Cooks running with a 10 on his back. Like 6'3" Brandon Cooks running down the field.
Yeah. It's insane. And his size, his speed, it's crazy that he hasn't performed. He's been in good systems. It's crazy that he hasn't performed for the last couple of years, and so much so that he's just basically just easy to get this far into the season.
Yeah. I mean, who else are we rolling out there right now? Like
Jermaine Jackson.
Who had the
Jackson 5?
I'm blanking. Who had the punt return that got called back? Oh, Dante Pettis.
Yeah, Pettis, yeah.
He was when he was in San Francisco, people really liked him.
Yeah, I forgot he existed too.
Yeah.
That's another little speedy guy that's just like, oh, yeah.
Right.
And Kevin Austin too. That's another one
He's made a few plays. Is Bub Means still hurt?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's on IR.
So that one's kind of upsetting because I was kind of hoping like, hey, maybe at least get one of your young guys in here and see what he can do. Who knows if Olave comes back? If they're winning some games, I think you see Olave again.
Man,
he's gonna wear a guardian cap though.
He won't. He won't do it. He should. He won't do it.
I want him to just
yeah,
take a nap.
Rest for the
not after a concussion, preferably. Just
yeah,
just relax.
As like a person, like taking my fanhood out of the equation, I just want him to not play anymore this year. Like really think about what you're doing with your life.
Yeah, just it's hard because obviously I don't understand the complexities of why these are reoccurring, right? You saw back in the day, like people retiring for this stuff. You saw Luke Kuechly retire for this stuff, right? You got to figure out how to either avoid it if you're going to do the guardian cap or sit down. Like your life is more important. And the same conversation happened around Tua, but I feel like he's had more than Tua in the last few years. They just haven't been as glaring.
It might be the same.
Yeah,
if I remember. But he doesn't do his hands don't do the thing, you know.
It's
when
not scary.
Yeah, he's not like, to be fair, he's not a quarterback.
Yeah.
He's not going to get the publicity of it. It's tough, man. I know. I don't know. Like if we're winning, like as a fan, I want him back.
Sure.
But as a person, I'm like, if you don't play again this year, I completely understand it. When it happened, I was like, we won't see him again this year.
Yeah, and that was also at the point when your season was going off the rails anyway. But
right,
to your point,
winning changes a lot.
Yeah,
you add him into this little makeshift group of receivers. Who knows?
Yeah, and you're getting Kendre Miller back in the backfield.
Yeah,
we talk about
we'll
like
see how long that
Trevor
lasts.
Pitting and Flaga kind of like holding down.
Yeah,
the line too.
Well, hold on. Before that though, just because I brought up Kendre and he said we'll see how long that lasts. Supposedly, I don't know if you heard this because I know we've had a lot of back and forth with vacations and all these other things. Supposedly, his injury was not that bad. Like he should not have been IR'd. And Dennis Allen was basically like, "I'm done with him. IR his ass."
Yeah.
So that's another thing that was a little frustrating about that whole situation.
Yeah, I do remember hearing that it may not have necessarily been an injury thing that kept him off, which goes to what you're saying. Is it's just like we've heard it. He's not the only player we've heard butted heads with Dennis Allen.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's been times, I think he'll never say it, but I feel like we've seen times where you can tell Alvin didn't really.
Yeah. He's just too.
And literally,
cool,
Rizzi went to a Pelicans game like the second day that he was.
Yeah, to be fair, so did Dennis Allen.
Yeah,
people seem to forget about that. He definitely did.
He did.
But yeah, what else?
To your point, the Fuaga, bring that up. Let's talk about that.
Oh no, he held Myles Garrett to no sacks last week, and Myles Garrett is like 3 sacks tonight.
Yeah.
So far, I don't know if he has any more.
And coming into the game, he was one of the hottest defensive ends as far as pressures. And yeah, that's huge. I mean, a huge testament to a rookie being able to hold down a guy like Myles Garrett, who's an all-pro.
Yeah, like I don't. I mean, the person to compare Fuaga to would be Ramczyk, right? Like his rookie season. Now I don't know if he's been that level of great because Ramczyk was.
He was pretty damn good as rookie.
Dude, when he came into the league, it was like, oh, he might already be the best right tackle in football. But for Fuaga switching to play like arguably the hardest, offensive line position and being this good, I think he's only had like one rough game, if I remember.
Yeah,
and I mean that's a huge hit because it was a concern when we were switching him. Everybody was like, why are we even doing this? Like if he's this good at right tackle, why bother? But if it works like it is, and you have
Trevor
your left,
Penning's been playing really good at right tackle.
Yeah,
too,
dude. If you have your tackles for the next 10 years locked up, that's huge. And then you have McCoy. You got 3 out of 5. Ruiz he's solid.
Yeah.
So if you got 4 out of 5 locked up and looking good, that's huge. Because then you can truly go best player available in the draft, and that's the most important thing.
You should always go best player available.
I agree. Unless you need a quarterback, maybe you
can't reach on one.
Right. You're not taking a second round guy in the first, but like
right.
If there's a guy projected in the mid-teens and you're at 5, maybe you take a chance. Who knows? But that's also how you end up with Anthony Richardson.
I would fire my GM. Be like, no.
That's how you end up with Anthony Richardson.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah. Penning. I wanted to talk about Penning. Fuaga, obviously. Penning has looked pretty dang good. He's slowly but surely getting better and better and better. And I'm starting to see people really in the know on Twitter. No, I didn't mean to do that. Right? I need to add that button. Like really praising his game. I mean, he's really turned a corner. He's still not great in pass protection, but he's gotten better. His run game has looked pretty dang good.
He's got a lot of pancakes too.
Yeah, and it's like he just needed reps. Who knew? A lot of reps, but he needed reps. Oh, there it is. It was a little late.
But I just wanted to show we had it.
Kind of jumped a little bit.
Whether it comes across on here, I don't know, but cool.
Oh, I heard it. It's definitely going to come across.
And shout out to Penning because it was looking a little rough. Let's hope he can keep that going.
Yeah.
We got the bye. What are we thinking the rest of the year? Like, are we call it now? Are they going to make the playoffs? How many division games do we have left? Let's look that up real quick.
We definitely got Tampa again.
And we got the Rams right after the bye week. So
you've already played Atlanta twice. You've already played Carolina twice. You played Carolina twice.
Yeah, let's look at it. So Rams that's a winnable game, man. They have given us trouble in the past, but they're not
the same Rams that they used to be. So
the Rams can come out and look like one of the best teams in the NFL, or they can just come out and lay a dud. But it's a winnable game.
I'm interested in that game. I'd be interested in the run defense. I obviously I wasn't able to watch last week, so you guys don't crucify me. How was the run defense against Cleveland?
It was pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. I know I started Nick Chubb in fantasy hoping he would have a big game because our run defense has been abysmal, and he did not.
I was going to say, to be fair, I don't think their Russian offense has been all that great all season.
So, but I say that to say for the Rams specifically, I mean, you got Kyron. You got a pretty okay offensive line. Like
they had a few like deep shot plays, like deep shot touchdowns.
So they played Jameis Winston football. Yeah.
It's the biggest test the secondary is going to have the rest of the year.
The Rams. Well, yeah, you got Puka. I don't know if Cup's healthy yet. I know he's been in and out.
Yeah, he's playing. Playing. Only know because I have him in fantasy and I've been starting him. And he's still Cooper Kupp.
Yeah,
but then you have the Giants who are going with Tommy DeVito. We saw how that went last year. That's a winnable. You should win that game. I don't care who your head coach is or anything. You should win that game.
What a sad situation. Not to cut you off, but like Drew Lock thought he was QB2.
Listen,
and they're just like, no.
So do you ever have like a player in the league that you have no reason to be such a big fan of? But you are. Like,
I do like Drew Lock too.
He did the Buzz Lightyear celebration after his touchdowns one season. I was like, this is my guy. Like I am team Drew Lock forever. And then he had the one game in Seattle last year,
Yeah.
or whatever that, I think it was last year, and I'm like, oh, it's Drew Lock season is back.
Yeah, I think for me it was. I don't know if it was his rookie year, but it was. He was on the sidelines like rapping cheesy, and then he threw like 3 touchdowns in that game.
And he does the Buzz Lightyear thing.
I was like,
dude.
oh, this dude's cool.
Yeah, I like Drew Lock. He's one of those players that like nobody's really a fan of, like of him specifically, but I am. Like, like he would, if you ask, I could probably name like Drew Lock's career by the end of his career. I'll be able to tell you every stop he made, and
you know what they say. There's somebody for everybody.
Look, man, and the way we've seen it recently, where these guys just kind of finally end up in a spot and they hit. And I never necessarily thought the Giants.
Sam Darnold,
right?
Yeah,
he's been a little iffy. The better
situation.
The better example is Baker and Geno, like those two. And I never thought necessarily the Giants would be the spot for Drew Lock, but I'm just hoping he gets a chance. Like, I'm not going to give up on the guy until he retires. But anyway, you have let's hope it's not Drew Lock when they play us, because that would be the game he goes crazy.
Yeah.
Then the Commanders. That's a tough game.
Yeah.
So 50-50 on that one.
Yeah.
Packers should have beat the Packers last year.
I feel like the Packers are a good team.
Packers have been like very 50.
It's in Lambeau in December. That's tough.
Oh,
what's
it's on
their
Christmas
record?
Eve.
No, it's the 23rd.
Oh, okay. I knew it was right around Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
What's Green Bay's record right now? Are they?
Let's look it up.
I feel like they're a good football team. I know they're not like
I mean, arguably them and the Commanders are the best two teams you play the rest of the year.
It all depends on Jordan Love's health.
I was gonna say, you gotta. Their record's a little bit shaky, I would assume, because Jordan Love's been in and out. But I'm trying to look and see.
Yeah, your point, playing them in December in the possibly in the snow.
Night game in Lambeau.
Yeah,
in December. Like, that's tough. But
Derek Carr is folding faster than a cheap lawn chair.
Hey,
telling you,
Taysom Hill had a 50-yard game.
I was gonna say, you ride Alvin and Taysom that game, and you just hope your defense can hang.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
It's a win. Listen, even though I agree, I do think they're a good team.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't say it's not a winnable game.
No,
it's certainly a winnable game. If it was in the Dome, I don't know. Honestly, I think I feel better that it's in Lambeau. That Jordan Love, if it's like a snow game, like a heavy snow game, and Jordan Love just can't go out there and just start slinging it.
Yeah,
I think I like our chances better against a one-dimensional Packers team.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
Yeah. Then Raiders in the Dome should win that one, and then you finish with the Bucs in Tampa, also a winnable game. So you could go 3-3 the rest of the way. Like, I think worst case is 3-3.
Typical Saints football would be to win every single game except the Raiders game and miss the playoffs.
Oh, it is 100% going to come down to we need to beat Tampa in week 17.
And we need to have another team beat another team. And then
it's all going to happen.
Happens.
It's all going to happen. And we're going to see what Rizzi is really made of. Do you get these guys to win a game that they have to win? Or do we just end up with the 50th pick of the draft? So, I mean, I think 3-3 is what you should go. I'm going to say you beat the Giants, Bucs, and Raiders for sure. Can you steal one of them between the Rams, Commanders, and Packers?
Right. So you finish 7-10.
Yeah. I don't know if that makes the only way it makes playoffs is if your
division's gonna be dog.
Yeah.
Doo-doo.
If you go, you could 8-9 could win the division.
I mean, if Atlanta continues their skid that they're on.
Oh man, I don't know. I say you lose 2 of them. You go 4-2.
I think if you want to make the playoffs, you have to win 4.
I think you got to win 5.
Think so?
Personally, yeah.
Yeah. You're right, because then you end up with a winning record.
Yeah, you almost have to win out, but yeah, you got to definitely win 5. I mean, it's possible to win 4, but like I said, it's just this crazy stuff's happening.
I'm just pulling up the playoff picture right now while y'all are. You
got to steal one of those. You got to kind of win out, and you also got to steal one of those against either the Rams or not the Rams, the Commanders. Don't say the wrong name, or the Packers.
Yeah,
because
the wild card is tough. Like all the teams in the wild card picture are 5-5. I mean, Atlanta.
When you look at the league as a whole, it's like
the league is terrible right now.
Maybe.
Yeah, the league overall is awful.
When you look at the top 10, it's like, damn, there's some really good teams.
Yeah,
that are projected top 10 right now.
Right now, the Falcons are obviously leading the division 6-5. So you're still within striking distance there. And then
2 games back. Right?
Yeah, the eighth, 9th. Let's see. Yeah, 8th, 9th, 10th teams are all 5-5, and one of them is the Rams, which you play. Okay. So
let's get it.
Yeah,
buckle up your chin straps.
Like at this point, to circle, come full circle from the beginning of the pod, you might as well go for it, right? Like,
yeah,
you're not ended up with a top pick. And I like Rizzi, so I'm pulling for it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, brother.
I got nothing else other than George Pickens had his weird moment of the week. Apparently,
he tried to fight somebody again. What did he do?
Yeah, he ended up in the stands. Apparently,
nice.
What a weird guy. Like we don't really need to go off topic. What a weird guy. Every week it's with him. He people elbowed somebody this season. It's been great.
I think for me it was the jumping stiff arm attempt. What are we doing?
It reminded me of the Antonio Brown kicking the punter in the face. Like, why?
Doesn't make sense.
Love to get Aaron's thoughts on that.
We'll talk about it tomorrow probably.
That's right.
Check out the Who F Knows podcast presented by Brew Bros. We'll talk a little bit more about that. That comes out typically over the weekend, maybe Monday. We'll see.
Yeah. I got nothing else. We can wrap it up.
Do you want to pick? I know the Saints don't play this weekend. Do you want to pick anytime touchdown scores from the weekend?
For this weekend? I don't even know the games.
Pick a slam dunk. I'm
going
to pick a slam dunk. I'm going Derrick Henry because he's Derrick freaking Henry.
Let's see. Go ahead if you got one.
I'm not really sure the games either.
Yeah.
I literally was like, who's going to score a touchdown? Probably this guy.
Titans, Texans, Vikings, Bears, Cowboys, Commanders, Patriots, Dolphins, Chiefs, Panthers, Bucks, Giants, Lions, Colts. I'm going to go Amon-Ra because that dude scores a touchdown every single week. I think it's 8 weeks in a row. So I'm going to go Amon-Ra.
There you go.
Also, it would help my fantasy.
Packers playing this week?
49ers.
All right, I'll go to Josh Jacobs.
Okay.
Josh Jacobs. Good call.
Josh Jacobs.
Good call. We should start giving out a funky parlay to close.
I would love
it. Could just be like multi-touchdown. You know what I used to do with my buddies? And we can close this out. I'm sorry. We used to go around the horn and we would pick one anytime touchdown score from every game. And we would just put that in as a parlay.
So 2 or 3 people. So does it end up being like a 20-leg parlay? Or
it ends up being however many games there are, like in a weekend.
Oh, okay.
That many
but it's not. So y'all would basically agree on a player for one game.
We wouldn't even have to agree. It would literally be, hey, it's your turn. You're picking San Francisco.
Got
blah,
it.
blah, blah.
I didn't know if y'all were like each picking a player from each game and then putting all them together.
No.
Like it's
a group chat and it's like, here's game 1, you just say a player.
We should do that.
It's like bing, 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 bing.
We have the Discord. We should all come together as a network and put together a little parlay.
We got really close one time. Most exciting day of my life.
Dude, if you go chalky on that in every game, every week, like you pick the highest odds, it's gotta get close.
Yeah. And because it's so large, you might not win a lot, but it's like such a big parlay. It's like,
yeah, we were doing that at the and I don't know if they're still doing it, which is sad. But when we were doing the pregame shows, that's how we used to end them all. We'd pick.
That's true.
We'd put out our little picks for the week, but maybe we can do that.
Let's do it. Okay. Anyways, that's it. Anything you want to shout out before how's life with Big Easy Nation been? Anything new going on?
Nope, nothing really.
You got any parties coming up? I know you've done some sometimes. If you want to shout out any place, no? Okay.
No, I got none.
Just want to make sure to turn it over to you if you wanted to. Cool. That's all I got. Follow your dreams.